uh, and then they like hit the
They're
guy
all
with
like,
the hammer.
glug, glug,
Yeah.
glug.
Oh man, I haven't quite finished it yet. I think I have maybe about 40 to 30 minutes left in the movie, but I feel like that's gonna be like the worst part of it.
Yeah, that's definitely like one of the climax moments.
Oh, I knew
There's
it. I
still
knew it
some
was gonna be
interesting
crazy.
things like yet to happen though. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
one of those movies that's like you can describe it basely, but you can't really tell somebody like what's up with it because they just need to watch it. Like if they're into horror and like experience what that is,
yeah,
because you spoil it if you try to like convey what's going on.
yeah. What's with the woman that tried to feed the guy like her pubic hair?
I don't remember that, so I can't speak about it intelligently. Um, I'm sure it's in there. I'm not doubting you, but I don't remember that. Perhaps I went to the restroom during that moment. I
Okay.
am hesitant to Google words together.
Yeah, like and they even bring it up like later on in the movie because this old woman meets with him and she's like, no, that's very shocking. Is she the one that tried to feed me her pubic hair? And she was like, yes. And I was like, what? Like, where is this going, man?
It's just what we do here.
Oh my gosh. I'm I'm gonna try to go to that Ollie's place this weekend and get you that StarCraft book that's like $8 if they still have any.
Hell yeah, dude. That would be so cool. Yeah, I used to love looking through the old Blizzard like game manuals, like for like artwork, like inspiration.
Oh, really? Oh, check this out. Oh, if you like the Blizzard manuals, here I gotta show you this. You're never gonna believe this. It's wild.
Candy King,
Ta-da!
Candy King. Time to enjoy a Candy King. I have scissors to open it.
Yeah, check this out. So this was also from Ollie's. Kelly got it for one of our role-playing friends. So this
Oh,
brand
cool. Yeah, I've never gone through that book.
brand new, still in the shrink wrap. Normally lists for $50. They sold it for $8.
Hell yeah, that's so cool. How'd they get that for $8? Somebody must have bought it and like returned it to him or something.
No, I no, because they had like 10 of them.
Hmm.
Yeah, very, very weird. Like
Maybe they like buy them in
I
bulk at a discounted price from like stores that carry them that like don't sell them during the time that they like want to have them on their shelves.
that must be it. That must be it because those hardcover Clive Cussler books, like $4, brand
Hmm.
new. Yeah.
There's one down Peachtree Industrial like in the city just a little bit, and then there's another one on Pleasant Hill, which is just down 85 from us. So Justin, if we're
Oh,
feeling better, which we're actually like Justin and is really starting to feel better today. Um,
nice.
we're thinking about going out this Saturday, and just like going around to a couple different stores and shopping. Like, not that we need anything, but just to kind of like get out there into the
Yeah.
hubbub of Christmas.
Yeah. Absolutely. If you text me, I would totally meet you at the Pleasant Hill one. Um, I think I I think it'd be cool.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
Yeah. Um, it would be funny though if like the one on Pleasant Hill doesn't have any books at all and it's just groceries.
The grocery store too.
Yeah, it's primarily a grocery store.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's like it's basically a grocery store that just so happens to have like amazing deals on books, which is really odd.
Hmm, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have like a running list of like books and series that I have that are incomplete that I would like to
Mm,
finish. Like I have
yeah.
something like 75% of the Wheel of Time, so there's like a few that I'm like just like keep my eyes open for while I'm out there. But I only want the paperbacks because all the ones I have are paperbacks. Um, uh, Same as the Christopher Paolini Inheritance, like Aragon series.
Oh yeah.
I only have like the first two.
Hmm. Gotcha. Gotcha.
Uh,
Um.
mm,
Hmm. I remember seeing Christopher Paolini at Dragon Con, and everyone was freaking out that he was here, or yeah, in Atlanta, and I was just like, "Who is this guy again?"
I
Had
enjoyed the
no
books.
idea.
He did stuff with dwarves that a lot of people don't do. Um,
Oh, really?
Dwarves are usually like very cookie cutter. Like uh, just think of your stereotypical Lord of the Rings dwarf, and that's what they almost
Mm.
always are. And his dwarves had a lot more depth to them, and I really enjoyed that. Um, Not the
Oh.
best writing, but like did some things that I thought were cool.
Hmm. Well, I believe he wrote the series when he was like ridiculously young, right? Like he
Yeah, I
was.
think the first one published when he was 16 or 17, I want to say. I could be
Oh,
wrong
wow.
about that.
Okay. Okay. I gotcha. Yeah, that is really young.
Let's consult the internet. How old was Christopher Columbus? No. Paolini when he published Aragon. He
Paolini.
was 19 years old when he published Aragon. I think he said he started writing it like in his mid-teens. Started when he
That's
was
wild.
15, published when he was 19.
Oh, wow.
And now he's 85. No, he's 40. Wow.
Hmm.
Wikipedia is like, can I have some money, please? If you give me $3, we'd never have to ask you for $3 again.
That's a
Have you
lie.
ever
They'll just
donated
keep
to
asking.
Wikipedia?
You know, Thomas, I feel like I should, but I haven't.
I feel the same way and same, yeah. Like, I don't know if I donate if they will never ask me again. I feel like they would, but I don't know if it's true or not because I haven't tested it.
I have something interesting to say.
Mhm.
Um, have you ever heard of a Stephen King book called From a Buick 8?
I heard of it, but I haven't read it.
You remember that short story we all read together,
Mhm.
And I think it's like the low men and they're like riding around in like those really weird cars and they're like these interdimensional police basically.
Yeah, with like the yellow raincoats, if I remember correctly, is what they were wearing.
Mhm. And they put a lot of effort or they put or he described the the vehicle that they drove in like pretty big detail. Like he kept mentioning how it seemed so odd and like out of place.
Mhm.
So from a Buick 8 is from the perspective of like if a low man just dropped off one of his like interdimensional cars and then just took off.
Hmm.
And
Interesting.
then it's
So
and then
somebody's
it's
got like
like
a weird dimension traveling car.
yes.
Fuck yeah, that sounds cool.
Yeah. And I believe I believe it's like a car from one of the low men, but if I remember correctly, it's not necessarily dropped off by one of them. It's dropped off by a guy in like a black cloak. So some people think that Randall Flagg dropped it off.
Like he just like stole a car and like went to go do a thing and just abandoned it when he didn't need it anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
Fuck, that's cool. I like that.
So yeah, I thought you would get a kick out of that. I finished Firestarter. I finished From a Buick 8. I did the whole Bill Hodges like Mr. Mercedes trilogy. Um, because I have this goal to read every Stephen King book before I die. So I was like, I gotta hustle.
He does one a year. Yeah, you've read quite a few, and you probably still have more than half to go, I would imagine.
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah, I need to get
absolutely.
on it too. Oh, I was talking to Greg about Fairy Tale because his dad was the one that got us to read Under the Dome when we were younger. So
Oh,
he got his
really?
dad Fairy Tale for Christmas.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It was
Do
funny because like
you?
when I was borrowing their copy of Under the Dome, something happened to it, like it got damaged or something. So I ended up buying them a like new copy of it.
Oh, okay, okay. That's like that book is massive, right? If I
Mm.
remember correctly. Didn't
Under the
he
Dome is
split it
fucking
like
awesome though. I love it.
yeah?
I loved reading. I loved every moment of it.
Huh. Interesting. Do you have goals like that too, where there's like a certain author or a certain series where you're
Yeah,
like,
I'd like to read all of Brandon Sanderson, and I'd like to read all of Stephen King. I've
yeah,
only read a little bit of Dean Koontz. I've read like 4 or 5 Odd Thomas books, and then another book that's like I think it's like 77 Shadow Street or something like that.
with the
Um,
mushrooms?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I have
Yep,
enjoyed both of those
yep.
very, very much. So I really want to like read more Dean Koontz too because I really enjoy him. He's very Stephen King-esque, but like
Yeah.
I don't know, there's like a younger feel to him. I don't even know if he's even younger than Stephen King, but
Honestly, if I remember correctly, they're roughly the same age now. I
consult
want
the
to,
internet.
yeah, I want to say they're roughly the same age.
Oh, that's what he looks like. What an unfortunate way for a person to look. Um, 78. I will post a picture of him. Don't you worry. Right.
Let's see this. Yeah, let's see this. Oh, I'm so excited.
I think it's just the haircut. I think he just has the wrong haircut.
Well,
Is that a toupee? Please
I
let it be a
remember,
toupee.
I'm pretty sure it is because um, I remember reading about Dean Koontz, and he said, "I got tired of being bald. I looked like G. Gordon Liddy."
Uh,
Or
Hello.
Hi, friend.
Hi. Wait, is Jeremy here?
He was. You
Where'd he
scared
go?
him off. I'm kidding. No, he was just talking like right before you joined.
I know, I thought I heard his voice, and then it's but it says he's recording. Oh.
What's happening? We want Jeremy. I'm posting pictures of authors in the chat for this meeting.
Jeremy.
Dean Koontz is rough looking, dude.
I've never known. Oh, there he is. That's Jeremy. You're back.
Where'd you go?
I should. When I click, I tried to click on the Dean Koontz picture and it like booted me.
Dean Koontz is just that strong.
He looks so rough that yeah.
It just kicked it. Christy, did you already hear the news?
No, wait, what?
No one told you yet? Even Steve knew.
Oh, about you coming to help desk?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, I did hear that news. I did hear it. I'm excited.
Yeah, same. anything to get me out of the current department.
Yeah, I get it. It's probably, I imagine, a little bittersweet for you, but I'm excited to have you back. So.
Yeah. When I tell
Sorry,
people,
I
they're
was
I
like,
think you will
cropping.
enjoy.
You're going back to MITS?
I am going back to mids. Everyone that I've told that to, they're like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Well,
So,
I know it's been really hard. And I feel for you a lot. So.
yeah.
Yeah, I feel like you weren't enjoying the work over there very much, especially in the past.
Yeah.
It's just a long time to do something that sucks very much.
Yeah, I think it'd be one thing if there was two engineers and I was the one that was like struggling and unhappy and not really feeling it, and then I would feel kind of like I failed in a way, but
Yeah.
um I don't want to speak too much for the other engineer, but he has related to me that he hates the department as well on several occasions, and he said he's like getting burned out already. So that makes
Yeah,
me
it's hard not to feel that way.
yeah, that makes me feel better in a way that he's miserable as well, because I'm like, oh, okay, so it's not just me.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know the structure of your team, but it almost seemed like everybody was a chief and you were the only person who like was on the like front line level of doing actionable stuff. I don't know if that's accurate, but that's how it looked to me. That like for a long time, I felt like there were a bunch of people like pointing and saying to do things, and you were the only one doing the things, which is not a fun
Uh,
way to work.
yeah. I mean, I could probably talk about the issues for like hours if you guys care to understand the situation. Um,
Yeah.
I could go on, and I'm sure Christy has seen like a small window into the security department and what that's like, and I'm sure you could tell like people are not
Yeah.
happy.
I mean, I could tell you were unhappy, and it was just you, like, I don't know, you just weren't having fun with it anymore. And but you're right. I mean, I can only ever see like what's kind of right in front of me. I can't,
Yeah.
like, I don't know every little like thing that happened, or so but just from what I could see, I was just like, I could see it. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I get it.
Yeah.
But also, I'm excited to have you back. So,
Cool.
I hope that you're excited too.
Uh
Yeah, are you looking forward to the
Or
change?
maybe if not excited, at least just like glad, maybe. I don't know.
It's like it hasn't really hit me fully yet, I think,
Yeah,
because
that's fair.
we were working at such a like frantic pace, like it's
Yeah,
hard to even just like absorb everything that's going on.
yeah,
Um I was when I was on just the security team, like the timing was weird because I had started to put out resumes at other companies because I was like, I can't keep doing this, like these 11, 12-hour days, skipping lunch constantly. You know, like I've got I've got projects that are like 6 months old, and they're just like, when is this going to be done? And it's like, it honestly feels like it could take years, you know?
yeah. With like just how many of you there are and how much there is to do. Yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, I had started. I mean, I'm sure you saw like what happened with Mike Smith over and over again, where they would give him like these impossible tasks, and then when he couldn't do them, like they would just pull him into the office and yell at him for like hours on end.
yeah,
And I I definitely saw that in my future because, they were like, roll out Evo for all of Novatech and also do all of your other work. And Billy's like, where are we at with this? And I'm like, I've got about 20 people done out of 700 or however many people
yeah.
work for Novatech.
600. I
And
don't
I'm
know.
like, yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm like, I'm going to be Mike Smith in about 3 months, So,
yeah.
so yeah.
I have a funny thing to tell you guys in the vein of like, Novatech.
Please.
So Calvin has tasked me with finding an e-commerce solution
Oh,
for Novatech.
Really? Wait a second. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Me, I have no
higher bow.
experience in this.
Yeah.
I don't know the systems that they use and like how they want it integrated. They are planning on changing all of that.
Mm.
I have no familiarity with this in any way. I am very good at communication and managing and uh, time coordination and execution of tasks. I began researching it just to be like, fuck it, like let's see what's up. Almost
Yeah.
everything that
Yeah.
I go to is blocked. So I'm gonna have to have this conversation with Calvin that's like, hey, I'm not an executive, I'm not on the BI team. And I'm way too fucking busy to do this shit because I constantly work all day and I'm still behind all the time. So I
Yeah.
can't be the person who solves e-commerce for all of fucking Novatech. Like, what
Oh
the
my
fuck?
God.
Like, why did you present that to me? And that should have been my answer immediately. But like,
Yeah.
I was already coming off of like a conversation that we had where he was like, this idea. And I was like, that's shit. That's a lot more work for me. I don't want to do that. So like I didn't want to be like, also this thing you're gonna do. I'm not gonna fucking do that. But now that I've begun to attempt to do it, I'm not gonna fucking do that. So I have to figure out a way to tell him that. Like,
What are they?
but also just consider that I've been here less than 2 years. I'm not a
Yeah.
manager or anything. In fact, I've asked to be a manager in place of somebody who's really shitty at their job and like didn't
Mhm.
make that work, even though I still do it. And like
You'd be such a good manager.
I'm a
Yeah.
great manager. Thank you. And I know I am
Yeah.
because I've done it everywhere else. But like,
Yeah.
I'm not good at like finding e-commerce solutions for multi-million-dollar businesses in an industry that I don't necessarily understand. and certainly don't understand the nuances of finding an applicable of the right size and right scope and right specialty e-commerce solution for all of our fucking customers. Like, why would you ask me to do
Wow.
that? That's like, getting mad at your like McDonald's like cashier person about like
Yep.
the way all McDonald's make their hamburgers and like tasking them with fixing that. Like, that's how big and stupid it is.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
Yeah.
I'm like, why is that? I'm shocked that's even like something Calvin is like asking people
I
about.
think he's
Like,
just like wanting to see like how I handle it. Like, I hope he's not actually looking for fucking results because he's gonna be sorely
Oh
disappointed.
no.
Like,
be like,
but
at least on the marketing side.
yeah, like, yo, like, I don't make enough money for you to ask me to do this. Like, it's so
Wow.
stupid.
Well, depending on what they're wanting, where Bo works,
Yeah, Amazon.
but well, yeah, probably Bo where Bo works is a little too small, a little too boutique. But I don't know, maybe actually no. I mean, one of their clients is a freaking giant client that has a European and American market. So
Ooh.
yeah,
Give the account to Bo. Have him knock it out. You'll look like a genius.
hire his company.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what he does? E-commerce solutions?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Oh yeah? Well,
Yep.
fuck yeah. Can Bo do this job for me then? Because I don't know how to do it.
He's very, very good at e-commerce. He's like an
He
e-com
works.
whiz.
He works for Variux. That's what they're called. So they're a very small little company. It's literally just him and like two other project managers.
Oh
And then
wow.
they're
Let's hire him. Tell him. Yeah, tell him they're hired. I solved it. I solved it. Look, we just did it.
look, Calvin, you did it.
We did it, Calvin.
You're gonna have to pay another
I'm not
company a lot of
wrong though, right? Like, that's fucking ridiculous to ask
No,
me to do that. Like,
that's I could go home and tell Bo that he'd be like, what the fuck?
and what does this guy do? Like,
He does
that
supplies
was
for a
that was
while.
what killed it for me. Like, I started to research it because I was like, let me just see. And like the first 10 sites I went to were blocked. And I was like, I'm fucking done. I'm done with this. Like, I have other shit. I have work to do. Like,
Already can't research on this.
so
Oh,
mad,
man.
dude. I'm like so busy too. And like, this is what you're having a meeting with me about. Like,
Thomas, many of the tasks that were given to me and the other engineer, I would often liken it to this. It'd be like if you found a sixth grader and then asked them to build a car. Like that's
and the security solutions were the car, and like you and the other engineer are the sixth grader. Like, is
I
that the
mean,
situation?
we all remember the proof point cutover and how that went, so
Man, there's still somebody on the customer care team who only emails the old supplies. And like, so I just pretend like I don't know they're there anymore because like, you gotta fucking learn, bitch. Like, like it's not
oh
a
man.
MIT's ticket error. You're doing this. Like,
You're the problem, Karen. Okay.
yeah.
Oh man. I still remember doing the proof point cutover, and there was like the second one that we had ever done, and Will comes out of his office and he's like, "Hey guys, I think email's down for all of Novatech," and I was like, "Oh God."
I did it.
I remember well, like he came out because it was somebody like Doug or like David
Yeah,
Collins
it was like
emails
Doug
him
Young.
who was like, hey, I just tried to send this email to
Yep,
I don't know somebody, and
yep.
I was like, oh okay, and I was looking at the bounce back, and I was like, that seems like a
Yeah.
problem on their end, but then other people were like, hey, I can't email, and it's like, oh wait.
Mhm.
I can't imagine how shitty that felt, Jeremy. I'm so sorry you had to go through that.
It's that just shows you the insanity of that department. That was literally the second one that I ever did in my life. And get this, even worse, Juan wasn't even there. They just had the two junior guys cut over all of Novatech at like 5 o'clock, and they're like, "Oh yeah, this'll work." It didn't.
Also,
And
I
then,
don't. want to disparage, but when Juan called me on like a day 2 or 3 of my like supplies email being messed up, like that
Yeah,
conversation with him was wild.
I'm
Like I
sure
was
it
just
was.
like,
He cracks me up. Yeah.
like what's
Yeah.
happening?
We were up till, I remember vividly, me and Daniel drinking coffee at like 9 at night fixing it. And then
Like as late as we stayed to role play.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It it was, well, but that was bad because I start at 7, so if I went from 7
Oh
to
gosh,
9,
14-hour day. Yeah.
yeah, so that was,
Yeah,
yeah, that
really.
was a 14-hour day. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's
That's good.
if if I told you all the stories that I have now, I mean, it would blow your minds. So, anyway,
I'm glad you're gonna be working with Christy. Smile.
I
Yeah.
know. Christy's nice to me.
I just like to be nice to people.
Thank you.
There's good ways to like teach somebody or coach somebody that are still nice ways to do it.
Yeah. If they're new and they don't know what they're doing, you know, you can be nice to
Yeah.
them. Yeah, I
It's
agree.
I don't know if it's like if you're gonna be on like an executive level or like a director level, if you have to be like more forceful. But I'm like, yeah,
Hmm.
okay, I don't need it. not, not it's not really my goal to be at that level anyway. But you know,
There
Right.
does seem to be like a certain amount of like abrasiveness and a willingness to be an asshole that like goes with a certain like level of executive that you like have to
Yeah.
be okay with dealing that way.
even if you're not like that, like truly, but at least
Yeah, you got to be able to turn that on in the
at
right
least,
in the
like,
right
turn it
scenario.
on. And I don't even know if I can like turn it on. So
Hmm. I
it
I
feels no.
feel like I feel like it's better to just try, like at least try to be a nice manager though. Like at least try, right?
Yeah, well, sure. Yeah, I mean, I like for me, I want to at least like lead with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
I would never claim that I'm even any good, but um, I don't know. At least that's like my thinking. So that to lead with it. So
I've never worked under you, but I put money on you being a great manager.
she is. She is. Well, here's here's my thing. So I felt like I did decent at help desk, and
I
I
thought
feel
you.
like I'm, yeah, and I feel like I'm decently smart and I can figure things out. So then when they approached me and they're like, "Hey, do you want to stay on the security team or do you want to go to a different department?" I was just like, my manager's mean, bye." So so then I feel like by having an abrasive attitude, like you lose good people.
Yeah, I think it's certainly easier to,
Yeah.
or at least harder to keep good people.
Yeah. Speaking of abrasive people, can we talk about Mr. Dursley and how he is such a douche?
Yeah,
He's more than abrasive. He's just a yeah.
he's
He's
he's they're abusive. They fucking hate
I
him. They
know.
hate Terry.
genuinely. They
What?
really do.
What?
They're just genuinely terrible people.
I hate that. Like I I'm not even kidding. I have like physical reactions when I read the stuff with Mr. Dursley. I'm just like, you
Yeah,
fat a-hole. I just want to kick you down
makes
some
you
stairs. Like, ugh.
angry. Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
does. It really does. She writes those characters so well that you're just like filled with rage and you're like, just leave him alone. Just leave him
Yeah,
alone.
I posted a GIF of Mr. Dursley from the movies, which you
Oh,
haven't seen. So this will be like a little like sneak peek of how well they do
Yeah.
in the movie with casting him.
they
Yeah.
really
Oh,
do.
awesome.
Oh, the faces that he makes in the movies, just punch him. Yeah.
I hate him so much. Like,
Mm.
and one of the scenes, yeah, so just to like update you guys, I'm on book 2 now because
Oh,
I
nice.
I shot through book 1 so fast. Like it's so well written.
I'm about
Um,
3/4 through book 1.
Heck
I've
yeah, dude.
I've I've just started, but that's okay. I will catch up. And also
Yeah.
And we can talk about the
we
series
can
as
absolutely,
we
yeah,
go.
we're not
Yeah.
Yeah.
spoiling anything. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can definitely talk.
Um the part where um so in the second book, I love how there's like that symmetry to it where in the first book it starts off and he's in the house and he gets the letters, and then the second book starts in a very similar way where he's, back in the Dursleys' house again. That felt right to me. Like I liked how there was those parallels. And then
And it gives you something to be excited about because just like him, you're like, man, this sucks. Can't wait for Harry to
yeah,
be at school where it's awesome. Like,
right,
Yeah.
right. And so Harry gets a letter from, forget the name, it's like the Department of Using Magic Improperly or something like
Mafalda
that.
Hopkirk, yeah.
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 Underage use of magic, yeah.
Yes. Yes. And then Dursley gets a hold of it and he's like, "Oh, so you're not supposed to use magic. Ha ha ha." And then, cuz apparently they were just afraid of him this whole time, like he thought,
Uh-huh.
Harry was going to turn them into like, teacups or like a newt or
Well, they
something.
had to surgically remove that fucking little like
The
pigtail
tail,
that they
True.
put
the
on
tail.
the kid, yeah. Awesome.
Exactly, exactly. And oh man, it made me so angry when they thought they had the upper hand on him and then they basically imprisoned him. I was just like,
Yeah.
you're just internally shaking with rage.
They're so bad.
Mm.
Yeah.
One detail I caught while reading the first book that I know I read it before, but like it didn't quite stand out to me. And I guess as an adult, like I think about that more is
Yeah.
when first off thinking about the value of the money. So trying to think of how much a galleon is.
Oh.
So it's
Right.
what? It's
Oh.
29 nuts to a sickle and 17 sickles to a galleon, which makes
Yeah.
galleons worth something like 480 around there. Nuts.
Oh.
So in my head, a galleon, it's like $250, so like somewhere around there. Like it's got to be way more than 100, but not quite 500, the way I like see it.
Huh. Hmm.
Um, so when Ron is on the bus trying to turn Scabbers yellow with his shitty little incantation, and it describes his wand as being one of his older brother's wands, and you can literally see the unicorn hair, the white tip of the unicorn hair at the tip of the wand because it's this secondhand rundown thing,
Yeah.
and like realizing like the Weasleys didn't have Harry's wand cost 7 galleons, so like let's say it's the low end and it's $150. That's like buying
Mm.
somebody like a new MacBook to go to school for each of your children at the very beginning.
Oh.
Like that's nuts, and it like really makes me feel for the character in a way that I didn't understand when I was a kid, but as an adult it's like makes me appreciate my parents more, and also like
Yeah.
look there and like and love the Weasleys for how much they try to make it work. Like
Yeah.
so,
Plus, also like for how much they love Harry and include him as well. Like, I mean, it could just
mhm.
we have a bunch of kids and we can't really like also help this kid either,
Yeah, and they like give him
Yeah.
Christmas presents, which they don't have money. Like they like always feed him if he's ever over at their house. I don't know if he's been at their house yet, where you are.
No.
Oh
Um
yeah, definitely.
he
Definitely.
he has okay, but yeah, they're so welcoming, but they're so poor,
Yeah.
but like they without hesitation like reach out to this kid.
Right. Yeah.
I
Weasleys
love
are
that.
great. I love them.
Yeah. I I think it's hilarious that I think last week Christy posted in the chat, she was like, I don't know the buying power of wizard money. And then Thomas literally figured out
I
the
know.
buying power of
Well,
wizard
I've been
money.
thinking about it since then.
You
Yeah.
did the math.
Did the math.
You did the rough math. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. That was awesome. Thomas, you should like post that in a blog or something.
Oh, I'm sure the work. I probably reinvented the wheel. I'm sure it's been done. Let's look. How much is a
Oh
gallon?
yeah,
there?
I would
Yeah.
not be surprised. There's probably like a bunch of Reddit posts on it.
Huh.
So I get for typing with one hand. How? And then it's like all punctuation. You know what I'm typing, Google. How much is a gallon of milk? Get up.
How much is a gallon?
Okay, so it's not as bad. According to the post, 1 gallon equals $25. A silver sickle equals about $1.50, and a nut equals like about a nickel.
Really? Huh. Interesting.
That's definitely not as expensive, but that's still like
I
don't know.
mean,
Although, I mean, I
still up
suppose if it's
there.
like a wand you're going to be using for like I don't know, like the rest of your life, then maybe it's
Yeah.
not that much. But...
Speaking of like really taking the book literally and breaking it down, can we briefly talk about the rules of Quidditch and like the gameplay?
Sure.
I don't know that I've ever really like quite understood. I don't know. Like I know what the snitch does, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's all
Yeah.
about the balls. So there's the quaffle,
Yeah.
which is the scoring ball,
Yeah.
which is
That's
10
true.
points every time they score.
Yep.
I'm not sure how possession works, if it's like basketball, if like you've got somebody covering you and you like have to pass it to a teammate first. That's kind of how it seems.
Yeah.
And then there's the bludgers, which the beaters hit towards the opposing team to confuse and injure them. The only rule I understand for that is they can't aim at their brooms at their head, if I remember correctly. But it seems like anything else goes. And also, it seems like it doesn't matter if you're hitting somebody in possession or not. But I don't think you can hit it towards the seeker until they're seeking, like until they're actually like moving, like they have found. But maybe not, because I feel like there's some instances where like a seeker's just doing his thing and like a bludger will just come out of nowhere, so they have to be vigilant. So that might not be a thing.
Right.
But catching the snitch, which is the third ball, then is what 140 points, I think.
I want to like.
I think it's
was it?
No.
I thought it was 150.
Maybe it's 150. It's
Is it?
Yeah.
150. You're right. Yeah.
Okay.
150.
So here's what's confusing to me about the scoring system. I believe, if I remember correctly in the first book, it says the snitch has to be caught before the match ends, correct?
Correct. That is how the game ends, is the snitch is caught.
And it's worth 150 as opposed to getting 10 points every time you get it through one of the hoops. So why don't they just basically put all of their focus on just making sure that the seeker gets the snitch and then basically harassing the opposing team's seeker? Because I mean that it's just worth wildly so many more points to get the snitch. It doesn't even seem worth it to go for just 10 points at a time, right?
I'm sure that there's a lot of like meta strategy that fans have considered, but the thing that sticks out to me is that if you disregard the game itself, the other team's going to score on you so heavily that catching the snitch won't make you win.
Right. They can get so many points that even if the other team then gets the snitch, they may be tied, or not even, like if they get 150 points and that's all they've gotten, they may not even be able to beat him. And then that's game because you caught the snitch, but then you didn't win.
Because they already racked up like 300 with the quaffle.
Right. Potential, I don't know, like 200 points or what. Yeah.
And I could see it how, like, if you do focus on that early game and you end up like at a deficit, then that becomes your only way at winning because now you're tired and like the other side has momentum. So there's probably a lot of like, sport like I don't even know the right word, like tactics in it that could be
Yeah.
implied in a lot of different ways. I
Yeah.
find kind of funny is that because of the way the game works, it's almost impossible to be made into an actual video game in a way that's like meaningful or matters. So I found it so funny in the Harry Potter video game, the Hogwarts Legacy video game, that it was like, oh, and the headmaster, that stupid like Nigelus Black, like he banned Quidditch this year. And like honestly, I was playing it and I was like, thank God, because Quidditch would be a mess. And I'm sure they've like tinkered around with it, and that was probably their realization too. They're like, we can't make this stupid sport work.
Yeah. I like the explanation that you guys gave though, because it honestly, that is a good explanation where they would just be able to rack up way more than 150 points if you only focus on
If you
that. So that makes
we're not gonna
sense.
score any 10 pointers, we're gonna like make sure the seeker gets the snitch, and that's all the energy we're gonna put into it. Then I mean they could potentially just get so many points.
Yeah, and like that could pay off, but like there comes a point where if it doesn't pay off, you're kind of screwed.
Right.
Yeah. I posed that question to Google. I was like, why is the scoring system so weird in Quidditch? And it was actually insightful because someone asked J.K. Rowling that on social media, and she's like, it's actually the whole game is an analogy for life. And I was like, what?
Oh.
Catching the snitch is supposed to be like you get a lucky break, or it's supposed to like basically be like luck in life, whereas just trying to get 10 points each time is just kind of like trudging along and just
Limping on
doing
yeah.
like living like you would
ends
normally.
meet, or barely making ends meet. Yeah, paycheck to paycheck.
Barely making ends meet. Whereas if like a lucky break comes along in life, then boom, you made like 15 times, what you would normally.
Right.
So it was that was crazy to me that it was supposed to be representative of life, the scoring system.
Interesting.
Hmm.
I like that. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's kind of true. Like, hell, maybe you're born and your lucky break is that you're super wealthy,
Yeah. Exactly.
But
That's the first thing that my mind went to too, is like, oh, so the snitch like represents entitlement.
like, it probably wouldn't be something that would happen like often. But let's say the seeker on one team gets the snitch like as soon as the game starts. That's like the equivalent of being born into like, or being like a trust fund baby, or like just like parents are extremely wealthy. Yeah. Even basically already got things set out for you. Yeah, that's interesting.
What are you doing, Kat?
Oh my God.
It is time for muffins.
Biscuit
There will be muffins.
You making bread?
Biscuits and bread and muffins.
He's smelling my hands.
Oh, so big. Such a young man or girl. I don't know which one that is.
It's the female.
Proper lady right there, making the muffins.
Yeah. Have you guys read the history of Quidditch? Because I saw that popped up in, I want to say, the second book. They talk about the history of Quidditch, and then I looked it up, and it's like it's a real book that she wrote for charity.
Yeah, I have a I have to find it. I have like a little box set of like I think one is like the history of magic, or like the history of Quidditch, or something like that. Like little books that she wrote.
I've been meaning to get those ones. I've never read those like subsidiary books that she wrote, but I want to.
I haven't actually read them yet, but I do have the books.
Oh, cool.
What was it? There's like 4 different ones or something.
Yeah,
I have to go
there's
find
another
it.
one called The Adventures of Beetle Bard, or
Oh, Beetle the Bard.
maybe
Oh, you're not
That's
there yet,
cool.
but you'll get
yeah.
Beetle the
Huh.
Bard. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so that's
You'll get,
also interrelated.
yeah, don't Google do too much Googling on it.
Okay.
Else you'll spoil
Okay.
a bunch.
Gotcha. Nice.
Hard to find like an easy list. Greg got candy canes.
I,
They look
Sorry, I'm
amazing.
munching candy canes in y'all's ear.
No,
they're all
no.
great.
Dishes.
Mhm.
I liked when the Whomping Willow ate their flying car.
Oh yeah, I love the
And there's
Lumping
just like,
Willow. I love it in the
oh
book
well.
too.
Yeah.
Mm.
Apparently, there's a
Episodes?
short stories compilation.
Really?
Yeah, there's a couple short stories. Short stories from Hogwarts of Power, Politics, and Pesty Poltergeists. She wrote in 2016.
Oh,
Hogwarts, an
really?
incomplete and unreliable guide. An ebook she wrote.
Oh,
Short
an
stories
ebook.
from Hogwarts of Heroism, Hardship, and Dangerous Hobbies is an ebook. And
Huh.
then there's Quidditch Through the Ages, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find
Oh,
Them,
that's the one
and
that
The Tales of Beetle the Bard.
yeah.
Oh.
Those are the. I think it's those 3: The Tales of Beetle the Bard, Quidditch Through the Ages, and Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Oh.
That's the 3.
We should definitely read Tales of Beetle the Bard after this because I'm kind of excited to see like what other fairy tales she's included in there and like how she's subverted like the common fairy tale themes. I'd be really interested in reading that.
Right. Right.
That's one of my favorite things to do when running role-playing games is to take people's like ideas of fantasy things that they have like encoded from Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter, like things that they think they know, and to like turn them on their heads. Um,
Oh.
which like you can only pull that off like so many times before people start to expect it. But I really like to like be like, hey, here's this fantasy thing, and everyone's like, oh, I understand this, and it follows the basic pattern, but it's like really weird in this other way that like you don't expect. That's like one of my favorite things to do when running a game.
Ah. Interesting.
Like I made minotaurs, like these denizens of good that used labyrinths and themselves entering them as like sacrificial magic to like hold back evil things, and like them being in the labyrinth is like an elaborate ritual.
Huh.
That was like one of the things that I did in a role-playing game to like take a concept that everybody knows and
Yeah.
make it something entirely new. So I really like when people like do fairy tales. That's why I enjoy Neil Gaiman so much, because he does that all the time, where he takes those
Yeah.
fairy tale things that you expect and like twist them in ways that you're like, oh, that's so cool. I never thought of it like that.
Like Narnia and Susan, and she's
We
all
gotta
Yeah.
read
depressed.
that.
Her family is dead from the train crash. So yeah, you're right. Gaiman does really invert like those, yeah, kind of like fairy tales, and
Like all
you
of
know,
Stardust is that way. Stardust is such a treat.
I love Stardust. Yeah.
The movie was really good too. I really enjoyed the movie. I think it's
I
Michelle
love the
Pfeiffer plays one of the witches, and it's just like so perfect.
oh,
yeah. It is Michelle Pfeiffer, and I don't remember who the other 2 are, if they're anybody specific, but it's also got Char Charlie something, but he's the one who played Daredevil.
oh,
Yeah.
Oh
what is
yeah,
that?
Charlie Cox. I forgot he was like one of the main
Yeah.
characters.
Mm-hmm. He's like the main.
I forgot Robert De Niro was in that movie. What the hell? I need to rewatch this.
I love. Oh my gosh! Yeah,
Ricky
I always
Gervais
forget
is in
he is. Yeah, you're right. He is.
Huh.
Yeah, the movie is really good.
Oh, nice. At first, it seemed like he might get with Hermione, but it seems like Hermione irritates everyone. Now I'm thinking he might go for Ginny.
We will see. I don't
I
know.
could be
Who-
way off.
The real question is, who do you ship in with?
That's true.
I thought Hermione was cool at first, but she seems to just like irritate everybody around her. So
She's a little bit of a know-it-all. for
yeah,
sure. Like she's
But
really
she also
smart.
does know it all, though. She just does.
Yeah.
I was about
Yeah.
to say she's one really smart, but also like uses that smartness to her advantage as well.
yeah,
And then she also just knows it. So
yeah.
and she does know basically everything for somebody
That's
so
what
young.
it seemed like. Yeah.
Love Hermione.
I do too.
I would be her friend. She wouldn't annoy me, but I also wouldn't tell her about a lot of the stuff I did.
That's probably a good idea because she would very much disapprove.
She would find out that relationship would last like 3 weeks, and she'd be like, "Why am I hanging out with this Slytherin or Ravenclaw or whatever?"
Hmm.
What house would you be in? You're definitely a Gryffindor. Sorry, spoiler alert. I'm telling you what house you're in.
Oh, you're saying Christy's in Gryffindor?
No, I think you're in Gryffindor. I think Christy. I don't know, Christy. What do you think?
So I have taken that like official test or whatever when Pottermore first came out,
Mhm.
and now it's not called Pottermore anymore. But anyway, so I took it when it like first launched, and it sorted me into Hufflepuff.
Okay.
And I took it like a year ago, and it sorted me into because when they switched, I had to retake it because my account was removed when they like changed it from Pottermore to whatever it is now. And
Mm.
I hadn't logged in for so long. I was so like inactive for so long that they just like removed my account. So I had to take it again. And it sorted me into Gryffindor. So
Okay.
Hmm.
I think I straddle between those two.
If you turn into an animal, what animal would you turn into?
I don't know. I remember I don't think there was an Animagus test, but there is a Patronus test. Which I think was a dolphin. I think it gave me a dolphin.
Oh, that's fun. I don't remember what mine was. I definitely did the Patronus test, but I don't remember what it was.
Maybe
You
there's
don't
an
know what that is.
Hey, I think if you become an animagus, I think you actually choose what you want to be, whereas a Patronus you don't choose.
Oh,
Yeah, I think
Thomas
so
would
too.
turn. Thomas would turn into a black cat with extra claws.
I would. I'd do that. Newton would be a horrible Patronus. He'd be like, go that way, and he just like walks off. I'm like, damn it. Just Dementors.
Like,
So it's like an animal that protects you from like supernatural forces?
Yeah, Patronus is a spell that makes an animal that like gives off like certain qualities that can be protective. And if you
Oh.
get advanced with it, you can actually send messages with it. You can like
that's also true. Yeah,
encode your voice on it and like send it somewhere else.
I've always sort of
Oh.
pictured it as like almost a piece of your, sort of like almost like a piece of your soul being sent, but it's like the lightness, like the goodness of you.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really
Um,
good thought, Chrissy. I really like that.
That's kind of how I've imagined it, I guess. Because
Nice.
and why you can't just be like, I want my Patronus to be an otter, because it's just like it comes from like within you. So
Yeah.
it's whoever you are as a person. That animal like represents those qualities, but like the good
Yeah.
qualities.
Huh.
I have a question for everyone,
Yeah.
and it's like a two-parter. So, do you all know the animals that are on the Hogwarts crest that represent the four houses?
Ooh.
Uh,
There's a snake,
mhm.
Yep.
a
I think-
lion.
Yep.
Uh-huh. Lion, a badger.
Oh, that's right. There's a badger.
Yep.
Is the last one a bird?
It is a bird.
Oh, yes, it is. But what kind of bird? Yeah, it is.
Magpie.
No, but you get points for not guessing raven.
It's not an eagle, is it? Is it an eagle?
It is an eagle.
It is an eagle. Okay.
The
Okay.
Is it
black
really?
eagle on a blue field that represents
Oh.
fucking Ravenclaw, and it drives me crazy.
That's
Drives me crazy. Like,
Like-
this shit makes me mad.
Why is it raven?
That's
I
hilarious.
think about it like every day. like she had to choose to do that. Like,
Yeah.
I
why?
love that.
Drives me nuts.
I need one more animal. This house is called Ravenclaw. It's gonna be eagle.
Ah! Like canned eagle sound, like the screech.
Oh my gosh.
It makes me so sad.
Aw.
That's okay. That's all. That's the end of my little question.
I loved that. I there's there's author in the series, and the author is kind of like battling for fame with Harry because Harry's very famous, but then the author also wants recognition. And the author,
Oh, I
what
just
is the
remembered who you're
last name?
talking about. I was like, who is he
Gil
talking about?
Gilderoy?
Yeah,
Or
Gilderoy Lockhart.
yes, yeah. I love I looked up all the different books that they came out with, and I don't think they're real. I don't think you can actually read these, unfortunately. But I love the
They
names,
would
and it's
be
like,
ridiculous books, but no, if you could read them, that'd be hilarious.
yeah, Voyage. What is it? Voyage with the Vampires, like Wandering with the Werewolves. What are the other ones?
I
They
can't
just
remember.
sounded,
They're like prancing with pixies, but that's just me throwing something
yeah,
out there. I don't know if that's one.
yeah. No, they all sounded so cool. Like it makes you want to read them.
Groovy with the Grindylows.
Let me see.
Works of Gilderoy.
I love
Year with the
like
Yeti. Good God, I love it.
Amazing.
break with a banshee. Holidays with hags.
Love it.
Travels with trolls. I love those like little details when an author puts like the little details in there because it makes it seem so much more like realistic, like the world.
Yeah.
She has a lot of things like that as you read, she like peppers them in, and they're not, really consequential, but there's like enough of it there that the characters are seeing and interacting with that it does feel like very grand and thought out and very architect
Yeah.
like writer.
Yeah. Definitely an architect all the way.
Yeah, she's not a
No,
gardener. Yeah.
not a gardener whatsoever in any sense of the word, not an R.R. Martin at all, or like a Stephen King. Everything was fully
Very.
thought
Yeah.
out.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. Architect all the way. She planned like every part of this, which is really cool.
We can only talk about almost none of it just conceptually, but like there are some things that are in it that I'm like that like she ties in later on that I'm like, did you figure that out first off? Or did you create these fantastic things and then like at the end you're like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if this and this like met up?
Oh,
So
yeah.
I do think that there are some things that like she didn't plan to use it the way she used it like from the
Oh,
very beginning. So I think
yeah.
she is an architect, but she left a little room for gardening as well.
Yeah.
Mm,
Because like there's like some things that I would warn you not to
hmm.
look up the wiki because you're gonna like learn too much because they're
Yeah.
like
Okay.
they seem so minuscule, but if you look up the right thing you're gonna learn a few words that you should know to like book 6 or something like that.
Right.
um
Oh,
uh
Sure.
so like some of those things I don't know like how well thought out they are, and that's something that we
huh.
can definitely talk about later on because there's a few
Yeah.
things that I'm like pretty sure she gardened that. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, she would have had to. Because you're right. There are like the like Tales of Beetle the Bard and all that stuff. You think like, oh yeah, it's just like some little reference to like some book that exists in the universe and we'll never hear from it again.
that's a good point because I don't think Tales of Beetle the Bard comes up very early in the series. We should pay attention as we read through it to like see the first time that it's like mentioned. I'm sure we could look it up, but I'd rather try to find it like organically.
Yeah. Curious now too.
I now I want to just like end the meeting and start reading because now I feel like I have to get to this made up book.
Yeah, I don't think it's in there until like book 5 or 6.
Oh, really?
I think it probably is actually further in. Yeah.
Oh, I can't remember. Which book did you say was your favorite, Christy? Was it Azkaban? Was it 3?
Azkaban is my favorite. Yeah. But then
Azkaban's
I also
so
just
good.
so good. But then I also do just love Deathly Hallows because it's just
It
I mean
gets
it's
there.
the finale. It brings everything together and your mind is blown and you're like, what the fuck?
And in my opinion, it's the most adult of the books too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They definitely like they get darker and they definitely get like it doesn't feel like um she she wrote to me she wrote the character so well that it doesn't feel like, oh, I don't feel like he's he's with every book he's a year older and you feel that,
Yeah,
Mm.
but it's also subtle and gradual. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
it's
there's
not
not too
that
much between
right,
1 and 2 that's different.
right. It is
Mm.
very gradual, which is, kind of how it would be for a kid growing up. But then you look at like book 1 compared to book 7 and you're like, oh my gosh,
Yeah, vastly different.
big.
Mm.
But then what's also really cool about it is like as these are coming out, I mean, the first one came out when we were kids. So if you started reading it when it first came out, or even a little bit later, you're kind of like growing up with Harry, and so it's really cool.
Yeah,
Mm.
there's a really specific nostalgia to I think our generation that did read it like
That
as it was releasing, that like we did grow up with Harry. So like reading this like reminds us as much of like our time in our life at that age as it does of like the book itself.
right. I think probably Harry Potter is one of the reasons why I began to love like a good coming of age story as well.
Mm.
Because I mean, there's a lot of things that can be said about the whole series, but it's also at the very core of it kind of a coming of age as well. Um, so it's I don't know, it's just good. I like it.
And Harry does really teach a lesson of dealing with the hand that you're dealt. Like he complains a little bit, but like you never see him like break down and talk to somebody and be like, yo, like the Dursleys fucking abusive. Like I messed up
Mhm.
because of that. Like he like of course, doesn't like them and like his friends know that, but he doesn't linger on it. And I really appreciate that from the character that like he gets blessings and focuses on that instead.
Yeah, that's true.
Hmm.
Everybody else talks about how whiny he is, but I like that because you're right.
Yeah, whiny, like man, Dursley's locked him in a fucking closet for years.
Yeah.
Like, that's so bad.
So rude.
They regularly
11 years.
fed him bad food that was made different than what they ate. Like, that was a thing that happened regularly each night. Like, that's so mess a kid up. Like, Harry Potter turns out all right. And like,
I don't feel like the only thing that you have to complain about his character is that he's really whiny. At least once you get to some of the later books, and it's like, okay, well, it's not that bad. I mean, for a kid that was
Yeah.
abused for the first 11
yeah, I would have become a dark wizard in a moment. I'd be like, magic's real? Right, I'm about to fuck some shit up. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
You know, Thomas, if you think about it, there's quite a lot of parallels between Harry Potter and Name of the Wind. The more I think about it,
Hmm.
right?
I don't know. Both stories
No?
like a lot more tragic.
Yeah.
A lot more well, he was able to witness and remember the terrible things from his past, whereas like Harry Potter like isn't quite
True.
there, like because it
Yeah.
happened when he was a baby. And
Mhm.
also like I don't know, both lived in a world that made him an adult at the age of 9. Like, you know what I mean? Like we're like so he had to
Yeah.
become this scrappy, like selfish street kid in order to survive, and Harry didn't quite like have that development. But like there are parallels as far as like young man like had a good
Yeah.
situation, got it taken away from him at no fault of his own, and then had to deal with the consequences and become like who he wanted to become and choose to be good. So like those parallels are there.
Yeah. And then going to like kind of magic school, like a college, you know.
Yeah.
I the more I think about it, like, yeah, if you really like the Harry Potter series, I feel like that's the next logical progression, like the next book to read.
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay.
And there's also, which I would really like for you guys to eventually read it, but the Magicians series. It's 3 books by Lev Grossman. It's like
Yeah.
Harry Potter, but for its modern day, and it'd be like if the magic school was college.
Heck
It's
yeah.
real good, and it's very like bittersweet in a like this world is hard way that I really like. Because it's not like, oh, like magic is wonderful. It's like, no, like you take 18-year-olds and you give them magic and they're already like too smart for their own good. Like they don't necessarily do good things with that. Like
Right.
Oh.
They're not innocent children. Yeah. Hmm.
yeah, like they're very like capable of destroying themselves. And that's a big
Interesting.
like concept in that.
Hmm.
And I like that for those same reasons. I like stories of sorrow, and then I've discovered that about myself.
I do as well.
I'm glad I'm not alone in that.
You're not, because I feel the same way about like sorrowful music as well. Whereas other people are like, "How can you listen to it? It just makes you sad." I'm like, "But it's
You're
so
like, but it's
beautiful,
so real.
raw." Or like sad movies, and you're like, "But there's so much like realness to it." I don't know.
Oh,
So much
Love
raw.
Actually is on Netflix, and it's one of my like. There's a lot of happy endings, but there's also some kind of sorrowful endings in that movie. It's a Christmas movie, so I just rewatched it. Oh, so good.
Hmm. Yeah, if you guys like sad movies, you should watch this French film, Les Miserables.
Yeah, I was about.
Let's
Of course, it's a French film,
miserable.
but then also, then yeah, okay, that's hilarious.
Very good.
Thomas's reaction, he goes, Les Miserables? Okay.
You're
I'm sorry.
less miserable for watching it.
Sorry, that was my attempt at like a Michael Scott joke.
Watching it. The next 5-hour-long sessions are going to be us watching Les Miserables.
That was my attempt at like a joke Michael Scott would make.
You would absolutely say that.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm sure it is almost 7, guys, but that was an amazing conversation. Thank you so much. Nick said he's going to try and meet with us next week. He said sorry to everyone.
Okay.
So we will try again.
Sure, we'll be on Harry Potter for the next like little bit, anyways.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I don't think Christy's too hopeful about him joining, but I am holding out hope. So I hope he does.
I want him to, but
Right.
yeah, no, I would love him to join. I hope he does.
Yeah, I do too. Didn't you say like he like the whole time you've ever known him, like you've never met up with him like outside of work or something crazy like that?
Never have. Nope. Never seen him outside of work.
Ever?
Okay, so there was one time, but that's only because Bo and I were at Target and I saw him at Target.
you saw Nick in the wild.
I saw Nick in the wild, but no, there never was one time where we were like, hey, let's go like get a drink after work. Or actually, I
Yeah.
take it back. We went to, there was one time when we like were invited to go out to dinner with some people like right after work, and but it was like at the cat, what is that, Cactus Cantina, the cat place, the cat server place.
Yeah, Cactus
Oh,
Cantina.
yeah.
Like, Cactus
Yeah.
Cantina. It was there, so it was like right down the street, and then like we went home. But there was definitely never been like on a weekend or like a Saturday or a Sunday or something, and we're like met
Yeah.
up and hung out and whatever.
Yeah.
But then also, if he was ever invited to anything, he would be like, no, I'm not gonna go. Or he'd be like, oh, like I might go to that, and then it'd be like the day, and he'd be like, yeah, I'm not going.
Living the dream.
So yeah.
I think
But this is all online, so
yeah.
yeah.
I think we can get him. I think we could get him for like one session. I'm
I think we
hoping.
I think we could. I think we could do
Yeah.
it. Because there's like
Okay.
barely commitment on his end, and it's just like you don't have to like physically go anywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. See you guys. Have fun.
Make good
Bye.
choices.
Bye.
Bye.
Merry Christmas.
Oh, Merry Christmas.
Oh, thank you. Bye.